Chapter 2, My Father Runs Away. And this chapter begins with a map, and we could look at this map, except I happen to know that there's a better map at the back. Look at this all the way at the back of the book. When books have maps, usually they're at the very front or the very back. And sometimes they have small parts of the map on different pages and different chapters in the book. So this is starting with a picture of Wild Island. Here's Wild Island, and it's a little bit bigger than the other one. But actually, they're not going to Wild Island first. I don't know why there's a picture of Wild Island at the beginning of chapter 2. Maybe the cat is going to talk about it. Wild Island. Look at all these animals. Crocodile, tiger, rhinoceros, lion, more crocodiles or alligators. Oh, there's the dragon. I think that's the dragon. It's kind of hard to tell in small black and white pictures. Lots of trees and bushes here. There's the rocks. Remember, the cat said the island of Tangerina and Wild Island are connected by a long string of rocks. Oh, and there was a whale, I think, on the rocks, which is strange because whales don't go up on rocks. They stay in the water. I don't know about that. There's lots of sea animals in this picture. Seahorse, dolphins, whale, fish, flying fish. Did you know there are flying fish? They don't actually fly. They glide. But they can glide, 100 feet. Very far, so it's like they can fly. And here's the island of Tangerina. I see fruit trees, and there's the town called Cranberry. So that's the port of Cranberry, where the cat said she missed the next ship. Okay, chapter 2. My Father Runs Away. Wild Island is practically cut in two by a very wide and muddy river, continued the cat. You see that river? Right down the middle of the island. This river begins near one end of the island and flows into the ocean at the other. Now, the animals there are very lazy, and they used to hate having to go all the way around the beginning of this river to get to the other side of the island. So if they were over here, they'd have to go all the way around to get over here. It made visiting inconvenient and mail deliveries slow, particularly during the Christmas rush. Crocodiles could have carried passengers and mail across the river, but crocodiles are very moody and not the least bit dependable, and are always looking for something to eat. They don't care if the animals have to walk around the river, so that's just what the animals did for many years. I wonder what this has to do with the dragon. But what does all this have to do with airplanes? Asked my father, who thought the cat was taking an awfully long time to explain. Be patient, Elmer, said the cat, and she went on with the story. One day, about 4 months before I arrived on Wild Island, a baby dragon fell from a low-flying cloud onto the bank of the river. Oh my goodness, I thought maybe this was a dragon doing a loop-de-loop, but it's a baby dragon falling off the cloud. He was too young to fly very well, and besides, he had bruised one wing quite badly, so he couldn't get back to his cloud. The animals found him soon afterward, and everybody said, "Why, this is just exactly what we've needed all these years." They tied a big rope around his neck and waited for the wing to get well. This was going to end all their crossing the river troubles. I've never seen a dragon, said my father. Did you see him? How big is he? Oh, yes, indeed, I saw the dragon. In fact, we became great friends, said the cat. I used to hide in the bushes and talk to him when nobody was around. He's not a very big dragon, about the size of a large black bear, although I imagine he's grown quite a bit since I left. He's got a long tail and yellow and blue stripes. His horn and eyes and the bottom of his feet are bright red, and he has gold-colored wings. Oh, how wonderful, said my father. What did the animals do with him when his wing got well? Well, they started training him to carry passengers, and even though he's just a baby dragon, they work him all day and all night too sometimes. They make him carry loads that are much too heavy, and if he complains, they twist his wings and beat him. He's always tied to a stake on a rope just long enough to go across the river. His only friends are the crocodiles who say hello to him once a week if they don't forget. Really, he's the most miserable animal I've come across. When I left, I promised I'd try to help him someday, although I couldn't see how. The rope around his neck is about the biggest, toughest rope you can imagine, with so many knots it would take days to untie them. Anyway, when you were talking about airplanes, you gave me a good idea. Now, I'm quite sure that if you were able to rescue the dragon, which wouldn't be the least bit easy, he'd let you ride him most anywhere, provided you were nice to him, of course. How about trying it? Oh, I'd love to, said my father, and he was so angry at his mother for being rude to the cat that he didn't feel the least bit sad about running away from home for a while. Oh, he's going to run away. This is one of those kinds of stories where a kid runs away from home and goes on adventures, probably wild adventures that could never happen in real life, and then comes back home okay at the end. That's my prediction. I hope so. Back to the story. That very afternoon, my father and the cat went down to the docks to see about ships going to the island of Tangerina. They found out that a ship would be sailing the next week, so right away they started planning for the rescue of the dragon. The cat was a great help in suggesting things for my father to take with him, and she told him everything she knew about Wild Island. Of course, she was too old to go along. Everything had to be kept very secret, so when they found or brought anything to take on the trip, they hid it behind a rock in the park. The night before my father sailed, he borrowed his father's knapsack, and he and the cat packed everything very carefully. He took chewing gum, 24 pink lollipops, a package of rubber bands, black rubber boots, a compass, a toothbrush and a tube of toothpaste, 6 magnifying glasses, a very sharp jackknife, a comb, and a hairbrush, 7 hair ribbons of different colors, an empty grain bag with a label saying cranberry, some clean clothes, and enough food to last my father while he was on the ship. He couldn't live on mice, so he took 25 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and 6 apples, because that's all the apples he could find in the pantry. When everything was packed, my father and the cat went down to the docks to the ship. A night watchman was on duty, so while the cat made loud, queer noises to distract his attention, my father ran over the gangplank onto the ship. He went down into the hold and hid among some bags of wheat. The ship sailed early the next morning. Oh, Elmer's a stowaway. Have you heard the word stowaway? That's a great vocabulary word. There's the cat watching the ship take off in the morning. A stowaway is someone who hides on a boat or a train without paying for their ticket to get somewhere for free. And of course, it's against the law. So they hide out and hope that nobody on the boat finds them. I wonder if anybody will find Elmer. Yep, that's the end of chapter 2. Let's stop and talk for a minute.
I'll take off my reading glasses so we can talk better. So Elmer gets on the boat. He goes down the gangplank and he hides in the hold. I wanted to tell you this vocabulary word, hold. The hold of a ship is down in the bottom of the ship, and it's inside, so it's not the part of the ship we see up at the top or on the deck or where people are walking around or where there's windows. It's down in the bottom part of the boat. And it's called the hold because that's where they put stuff to hold it and keep it while they sail or cruise across the ocean and go to the next place. It's just for keeping stuff. So there's not many people going down there, which makes it a good place to hide. So a stowaway would probably find a place in the hold to hide where nobody would come across the stowaway. Elmer is the stowaway this time. And I want to look back at that list of things that he and the cat got ready to take to Wild Island and think, what are these things for? Okay, let's see here. So the cat helped him decide what to pack. And they packed everything carefully into his knapsack. He took chewing gum. Sure, if I'm going to go on a trip, some gum would be a nice thing to have. He took chewing gum, 24 pink lollipops. That is a lot of candy. A dozen is 12. 24 is 12 plus 12. 24 lollipops? Really? I hope he brings some real food to eat because that's a lot of junk food. A package of rubber bands. Why would he take rubber bands on an adventure trip to an island with wild animals? Is he going to shoot rubber bands at the wild animals if they attack him? Is he going to connect all the rubber bands together to make a chain for something? What's with a package of rubber bands? Black rubber boots. Why would he want black rubber boots? Well, it's an island. So islands are surrounded by beaches, and that's a very wet place, and the dragon is tied up at a river. So black rubber boots might help if it's muddy and wet. That makes sense. Seems like a good thing to bring. A compass. Do you know what a compass is? That's a tool for finding your direction, north, south, east, west. If you're somewhere that isn't a city with roads or people to ask which way to go to get somewhere, especially if you're out in the woods, a compass can help you find the right direction to go. That seems like a good thing to bring. A toothbrush and a tube of toothpaste. Well, that's good since he has all those lollipops to suck on. He's going to have sugar on his teeth all day, all night, all day. So he brought a toothbrush and toothpaste. That's smart. Okay, so he's going to keep his teeth clean. Suck on lollipops and then clean his teeth. That's what I'm thinking. 6 magnifying glasses. 6? What does he need 6 for? I've used a magnifying glass. You hold it with one hand and you squint an eye and you look. Maybe he could use 2, 1 in each hand. Use 2 magnifying, with 6, what's he going to do with 6 magnifying glasses? And those get kind of heavy too because they have a big thick piece of glass in them. So 6 of them is going to be heavy in his knapsack. That's going to make his knapsack heavy. That's strange. A very sharp jackknife. Taking a knife seems like a good idea. Maybe to defend himself against a wild animal or cut things that he needs to make, if he needs to make something, or cut food to eat it. I don't know. Knives come in handy. A comb and a hairbrush. I guess he likes to be nice and neat and presentable. If you have short hair like me, you don't need it. I guess maybe, is there a picture of his hair? I'll turn back really quickly and see if there's a picture of him having longer hair. He's wearing a hat in those pictures. Wearing a hat. So we don't really know about his hair. But he's bringing, both a hairbrush and a comb. Both. You don't really need both. I don't know. 7 hair ribbons. Look really carefully. There's a hint on the cover. 7 hair ribbons. And they're all different colors. I wonder. An empty grain bag. So that's a big sack that would be full of grain, like a 50-pound sack of grain. But it's empty. So an empty grain bag with a label saying cranberry. And that's the port where the ship is going. So maybe it would be labeled to go to Cranberry. So then when they get to Cranberry, the sailors unload it from the hold with all of the other stuff that's being shipped to Cranberry. Some clean clothes. Good idea, so he doesn't start stinking too much. Some clean clothes and enough food to last while he was on the ship. 25 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Sounds like he may be on the ship for a few days. It would take a few days to eat that many sandwiches. 25 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and 6 apples, because that's all the apples he could find in the pantry. So he's taking a good amount of food, a whole lot of lollipops, some rubber bands, toothbrush and toothpaste, a comb and a hairbrush, all kinds of things. Jackknife, rubber boots. It's quite a mixed list that he's taking in his knapsack. Everything has a purpose. Let's remember that. Everything has a purpose in stories. Ready for the next chapter? Let's read.